sometimes people have what it takes, but they haven't recognized it yet. Just go forward. So what do you need to do?
Welcome. Hello, everybody.
This is
and it's different from
and it's bigger than you think. Rise from the ashes.
The high performance call, Monday through Friday, noon Eastern time. Today, I'm joined by a dear friend that for some reason we still haven't met in person. But I have known Terra. I've told this story before, but we met. I don't know if she posted or I posted, but we met kind of messaging back and forth lyrics from, what's the name of the song? Some people call me a space cowboy, but what's the name of the song?
Isn't that the name of it? Oh, no.
Jamiroquai space. Or are you talking about
The old.
You're talking about oh man, come on.
Some people call me the gangster of love.
The Joker.
There you go. So anyway, yes, one of us posted about it, and then we just went back and forth quoting the next line, and then it turned into a discussion. Then I found out what she did, and she found out what I did, and we started talking more. And it led to, collaborations. It led to ebooks. It led to all sorts of other cool stuff. And then last week she was on with me, and she was helping me write out a video sales letter for someone. And I need to get you that script, by the way, so I can show you, because they've already filmed the, what I wrote up, and it's getting edited now. So I'll let you see the final. But yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. Steve Miller Band, there you go, Forrest. Appreciate that. So I thought it was Steve Miller Band. Anyway, relationships online, guys. It's kind of interesting. How are you? How are things?
I'm good. Today's my last day of work. I leave for vacation first thing in the morning. So I am making lists about all that I should be home instead of what I'm here doing.
Where are you headed off to?
We are winding our way from Illinois down to the Keys. So it's going to be, I think.
That's going to be a bit of a drive. You coming through Orlando?
We might be. I meant to message you, depending on the. So we might.
We'll have to figure out date wise what's going on. So I'll drop that in. So and a round of applause for Krissa, who is just awesome. My assistant that is on here all the time. And what a lot of people don't realize is that it is 12 hours later where Krissa and Nina are, and they're still on these calls. So midnight every night, instead of being in bed, Krissa's hanging out with us. So appreciate her big time. So your social media handles, Terra, a couple people asked.
Terra talking on pretty much everything. My name is Terra and then Talkin. That's my blog website. That is my Instagram handle. Terra Talking, the blog, is my Facebook business page. And then on LinkedIn, I think it also is under Terra Talking. But it's under Terra Reed, my name there. Okay. Yeah, that's the Pinterest I'm on every once in a while. But yeah, Terra Talking, spelled the right way, should get you to me in some way, shape, or form. And I'd love to connect with you. If you want to send me a message, send me a friend request, connect with me, let's do it.
So you've been in this online space for a while. When I met you, you were kind of ghostwriting and working behind the scenes for a women entrepreneur who focused in other entrepreneurs helping set up their business, right? And so you did. So explain to people a little bit of kind of what you do and what you think your superpower is when it comes to marketing or to online or business or whatever.
Well, I think my superpower is that, like your lovely assistants, I can stay up till midnight being involved in a whole bunch of stuff that has no bearing on my life. Not that they are, but I will read and scroll until I'm literally falling asleep. And I have been that way since social media started way back, probably before a lot of people who were born, maybe not, in 1999, when we had 3 or 4 actual websites we could go to on the World Wide Web. So it's been a lot of longevity, a lot of figuring out what does work, what doesn't work. But when it comes to the marketing, I think what I've really honed in on is being able to kind of marry this sense of getting a product in front of someone in a way that attaches to the end consumer. So kind of marrying marketing mindset and then storyline. If you can tell a story to me about the product and how it's going to fit with my life or how it's affected someone else, I'm usually pretty quick to hit buy now. So I try to do that for other people. help them get to that place where whoever's reading their sales page, their information, they want to hit by now. So I would say that ghost writing, copywriting, becoming the voice of whoever it is that I'm working with is really kind of where the superpower comes in. And then being able to kind of bring humor into whatever it is that we're doing, because if you can either make someone cry or make someone laugh, you usually have a customer or a friend for life. That's how we got connected. You made me laugh, and it was on a day that I desperately needed it. And here we are 4 years later.
Yeah, there you go. Why do you think emotion's so important when it comes to marketing? Because a lot of people talk about features and benefits, all right? Like they go after, and I think sometimes we get confused and we go, well, how does it help the business? Which is important, but why are emotions so important when it comes to marketing?
I think that's a great question. I think that a lot of people in marketing kind of can miss that emotion connection, because the features and benefits are kind of what makes us for sure say yes, but we get sucked in because of something that we feel. So to get to that features and benefits list, you could send me all day long features and benefits of, certain things, but at the end of the day, I'm going to buy it because of how it makes me feel or how I think it's going to make me feel. This new purse is going to make me feel more luxury. So that's what I want to know, not it's made out of calf leather and, 13 different elves somewhere had to cry a bunch of tears to moisturize the leather. I don't care about those products and benefits. I want to know, how am I going to feel when I'm carrying this? So that's a really crazy example, but it's that kind of thing. That's what emotion does to tie it in. And it's finding the right balance, right? You can't just have this sales page that's like 14 pages long of someone's sob story, but on the other hand, you can't just also list key bullet points and expect that someone's going to be like, oh yeah, great, this is exactly the product for me.
Yeah, I was given the same customer that you and I were working on with the video. When I say VSL, guys, I mean video sales letter. So like you guys have some of them in your funnel, right? So Terra and I were working on a video sales letter because they had a great video that didn't talk as much to the emotion, didn't talk at all to the person, didn't talk about what was going on, how it could benefit. Like there was none of that there, and it didn't tap into their emotions in the right way. And so we rewrote a script. The guy did it. So then they sent me, they're like, here's how the offer is. And they sent it to me, and it's just a couple of bullet points. It doesn't talk at all to the, like it's the same thing. And I'm like, and I literally, this morning I messaged back and I'm like, I want to rewrite this and then we'll redo it. Because if you don't connect to someone and kind of help them understand, look, here's problems, or here's the emotion behind the problems, and I understand what that is, then offer the solution, there you go, right? If you don't have that, you miss the boat, right? What you guys got to understand, so a common phrase that Darren said, that Henry mentioned yesterday, but people buy from who they know, like, and trust. And if you don't have the credibility yet, then you need the relatability, is what Henry was saying, right? So how much more relatable can you be if I can tap into your emotions? And then you go, oh, all of a sudden now I'm opening up not just my mind, but my heart, right? So what are some of the keynotes to getting emotional marketing right? That's a great question.
That is a great question. What I think part of it is practice. Really, it is putting yourself out there. Whatever you're selling, without knowing details, this might be somewhat generic advice, but I'm happy to delve into it more if you have follow-up questions. Is just practicing.
So everybody here is working with a digital product that helps businesses with their social media marketing, right? Okay. So most businesses don't know how to market on social media. We're solving that problem, kind of helping them turn their social media into, something that has a call to action. There is some direct response, what a funnel would be for, and any kind of business. It could be a restoration company. It could be a doctor. It could be an online marketer. Most businesses, and I'm sure you'd probably agree with this, most of them don't know what the hell they're doing when it comes to marketing. They, the biggest call to action they have is call my phone number. The biggest claim to fame is, oh, we're family run and we've been in business for 12 years. And my question always with that is like, okay, so if the family business across the street, if they've been in business for 18 years, are they better? Well, no, we are. Well, but then you need to change up what you're saying. So we're helping these businesses with their social media. We got digital training and products and things that'll help them do that. So, but marketing in general, so we're tapping into the emotions of business owners here for the most part. So what would you think would be some keynotes to emotions
that is,
there?
As a lot of businesses think, if I can just get on page 1 of Google, then sales are going to flow. If I can just have the highest ranking SEO keywords, and that is a part of marketing. Absolutely it is. Because if you're not in front of the right people, then, you're never going to be seen. If you're buried somewhere on page 52, no one's ever going to know about you. But once you get to where you want them to be, and you get there because of other people paying attention. So it's about practicing. It's about finding some of the stories. If let's say it is a restoration company, that is such a human emotional thing to feel like someone's lost their pictures, right? Like dig into the story of what happens when someone needs a restoration company. It's not always just, oh, the carpet's wet. It's, we can't have Christmas in our house. That's a horribly sad thing to connect to. We can't, we can't replace that piece of furniture that was my grandmother's that came over on, the Mayflower, whatever these things are. That's probably a few generations too old, but it is
a couple. I don't know how many people still have pictures from the Mayflower. You might have
pictures. Yeah. Oh, furniture. It was a piece of grandma's furniture.
Oh, okay. Grandma's furniture. Sorry.
To connect is really how you start to practice it. And it's just putting yourself into the situation of, if you were the end consumer with whatever the product is, if you were that customer, what makes you click on something? And it really is just.
So here we're working on those like the businesses are our end consumers, and then we can help them with their end consumers. So sharing some of that stuff is going to be important, guys. But this boils down to understanding who your audience is, right? Yes. So Henry was talking about that yesterday. Darren was talking about that. And if you're listening, that's essentially what Terra's talking about here too. If you want to tap into emotions, you have to understand your client, and your client is going to be other DJs, event planners, mechanics, real estate agents, financial planners, whatever. What are their problems? And at times, what problems do they solve? But, she mentioned Christmas. It could be the same thing. Are you struggling to, pay the salaries for your employees for Christmas, right? Give them, wouldn't it be great if next year you didn't have to worry about giving your employees a Christmas bonus or taking Christmas off because your books had been so full for the year? Yep. Right? Wouldn't it be great if you had homes to close on a consistent basis? Go ahead.
No, you're telling that story, right? You're connecting that story for them. It really is about finding the story in whatever it is. And those stories look different. And story doesn't have to mean once upon a time, I was a broke business owner. It doesn't have to start like that. The story is right now I'm a broke business owner, but by Christmas of 2022, I was able to pay bonuses that were a complete surprise to my employees. That's a story that you can start to develop. That's a human element and it's just practicing different ways of saying that, what resonates with people. And you can practice on your own personal, social medias, whatever you're doing, by just telling a story. Just come up with a story of what happened in your day. I went to Dunkin' Donuts yesterday, and this is probably going to be a post on somewhere. And you're used to, you pull up to the Starbucks or the Dunkin' Donuts and the person's like, all right, can I take your order? What's your name?
She's a bit of a coffee fiend, guys. Just, you'll see it when you follow her. Anyway, go ahead. You pulled up to Dunkin'.
And out of the speaker comes this beautiful voice. And this lady's like, good morning. I can't sing. She could, but it was just like, I'm being serenaded in line and she's like, what's up, baby? What can I get for you? And she like made me feel a part of this donut buying experience. And I was like, this is great. Why don't we all do this in our businesses? What a customer service.
Give me a dozen right now. Right. But what happened is she brought a smile to her face. Guys, if you can bring a smile, and it's not always, like she said, it's not always tears that you need to create in your, as an emotional tug for your people. It's what if you could create a smile? What if you can make them laugh? What if you can connect? And we do need a lot more of that. Obviously, it's easier to dig into pain. I will tell you that it's easier to dig into pain. It's easier for people from a marketing standpoint to want to change pain than to talk about the positives. Okay. Then to get them to take action because of a positive. But if you can balance that in content, especially organically in groups and on your page, if I can occasionally, cause emotions that, make me struggle, where I kind of choke up, and then, later on I get, a snark or some kind of smirky, response. Now I'm playing with them. Now I've got them in my hand, right? Emotionally. Now they start to connect with me because, hey, that's a real person.
Yes.
And that's what it's about.
Connecting humans is what it's, and I see so many companies missing the boat on this. When it's just a bunch of like spitting back out what makes them great, not how are they going to be great for me. Connect back to the humanity. And like you said, pain, it's number one. You go to any marketing course. What are the pain points of who you're marketing to? Pain points aren't always literally painful. When I was a mom with 4 kids that were under 7, my pain point wasn't necessarily painful, but it was like, if you could market a product to me that would allow me to get all 4 of them together, a diaper bag that had everything, like my pain point was I can't get out of the house without 14 different bags, right. 3 different things, and 3 car seats. That's not painful. But to me, it was
but if you could solve that problem, if you could tap into that frustration, right? If you can, people buy the solution, they buy the convenience, they buy, something that saves them time, something that makes them feel better, right? I was talking about this on the call earlier, right? Your business owners they're not buying a digital solution. They're buying, more money for their employees. They're buying less frustration in trying to figure stuff out on their own. They're buying, the time that they gain from the masterclass or from the DFY Plus, because you're giving them the solution like right there, so they don't have to do it. Right. That's what they're buying.
Well, they're buying that on some level. They're buying the legacy of what they're trying to create. They're buying the story that you're helping them build, is that their name is going to become a household name. Their logo is going to become the first one that people see when they think about their company. They're buying this long-term, those are the pain points of how do I build something that's going to keep growing? How do I, wear all of the hats? These are some of the stories you can really delve into when it comes to selling your services to a business. Right. And it's about, what does that business owner really want? What stories are they telling themselves, and what story can they be telling themselves? But they're human, and their product serves humans.
So I want to, because you've done business consulting, I've done business consulting, right? We've done marketing for a variety of different businesses and worked with business owners. I want you guys to listen to, we're going to go back and forth a little bit. We're going to talk about basic pain points and things that businesses typically are looking for. So this isn't you, this is your customer. Okay. Is everybody on board? Yeses, we're good here. Right. So, Madeline, what we're talking about with pain points is some businesses, what we're talking about here, they have problems. And if you can tap into that and the emotion that's behind it, it could be a painful problem for them. So here's a couple of things. When it comes to social media, for example, I don't know if I found a business owner yet that I've spoken to that really understood how social media worked, right? Maybe they were, we got an extra guest on with us today. Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe they are, they post a little bit on their own, but they don't understand how it can work for their business, right? That's one of the basic, I haven't met anybody yet that understood it. When it comes to marketing, what's another thing that you've had with businesses where you just like, that's got to get solved? Anything, not just marketing, but what's something else?
Gosh, I mean, it's most of who I've worked with have been small businesses, and like I said, it's wearing all the hats. It's having to not do the work, but market the work, do the accounting. It's just and if you as someone can come in and solve more than one problem for them, even, maybe you have great Excel skills that can be utilized, and you can kind of work that in too. But most small business owners who are going to need marketing help, they also need lots of other help. They need business strategy. They need, just someone to bounce ideas off of, but it's about building that business from the ground up.
Yeah. And guys, cash flow solves 90% of these problems. But a lot of them, like she said, they're so used to wearing every single hat. So yeah, they're going to have problems with accounting. Yes, Keith is asking, are they also buying on some level the time they can spend with their families? Absolutely. But what are they struggling with? They don't have enough employees to allow them to do that. Guess what? Extra cash flow allows you to hire employees. They're struggling with, well, I've got to put in the extra hours because these extra few jobs, right? I'm busy right now, but my business is always up and down, right? How many of you guys have heard business owners say something like that? Well, my business is always up and down. Not really. Your business is up and down because you suck at marketing, right? And you haven't figured out how to make that transition from consistently marketing into having a lead machine in place to consistently deliver customers that will allow you to build your business and expect some kind of results going forward. So now I can plan to hire an employee or 2 employees, right? And so the pain points are any single one of you, every business that you've got, every single niche that we're talking about has these issues, all of them, right? So when we're talking about finding out about your niche, it's just a little twist where instead of talking about, filling up your book with appointments, it's filling up your book with, or your schedule with buyers and sellers of homes, with patients for your office, you just need to change things a little bit, guys. And then all of a sudden it's customized for your audience. So any thoughts there, Ms. Atkinson?
No, you've exactly nailed it. That I just made a LinkedIn post today about, I worked in construction. I worked in, writing grants for nonprofits. I worked for a funeral casket company that we had to deliver to the end consumer was the funeral homes.
Oh, that's fun sales. Good Lord.
Right?
Sorry.
And now I work in more of the alarm, safe home, smart home industry. There is so much that goes in, and healthcare. I was in healthcare and wellness for a while too. Every single one of those end consumers was different, but the process that I had to go through as the marketing director was essentially the same. Dig in and find out what's going to help this business succeed. And it's not just, hey, I can bring you a bunch of clients. If you do, and this business owner is not prepared to handle, let's say you're really great at your job and you bring in 15 leads a day. Can they make 15 calls? Can they set up 15 appointments? Have enough people?
Yeah. So sharing that help, guys, and like, as you build, here's something to think about. Like even just that little bit, become a resource, position yourself. And this is, again, the credibility and relatability. Position yourself as the expert simply by understanding what their problems are and how to provide or point them in the right direction. Doesn't mean you have to know everything, right? Like when I was doing restoration, I got an opportunity to speak at state conventions for realtors and property managers, not because I was a good real estate agent or property manager. I didn't know anything about it. I just understood what I needed as far as water damage and mold and how it related to them and their tenants. And then I could point them to, because they would start to ask me about, legal matter, like what they had to do as a property manager. And I could answer the most basic thing and then get them to the right attorney. I could get them to, someone, like I became a resource. They knew they'd call me up and I'd have an answer for them, right? And that's what you need to do. And that's where you get into understanding your audience. Mm-hmm. The more you understand the audience, the easier it becomes to put out some content, right? And get them. So Chantel's talking about focusing on the individual's human side, delivering a product and service. So as you do that, focus more on helping the people than the money you'll make. As you focus on helping those businesses, because all of these businesses are run by people, right? I mean, that's it. The managers want more customers because they're concerned about, the goals that they have and the employees that they have. The owners are concerned about it. That's your audience, guys. And just think about it. Put yourself in that situation. If you've always been an employee, sit back and go, what are the issues that the managers always had? What if I could just find some little solution for them or keep them connected? So how do you help them understand how to scale up their business resources versus the number of leads that our product will help them get? Or do we just deliver the leads and leave them to their own devices? I'd do a little of both. You just talk about what it would be like. What have you done, Terra, when you worked with businesses on the marketing side to make sure that they have the capacity to?
It looks like a cool giant.
What I've done personally is that I don't ever want to just dump a bunch of leads into my clients' lap without knowing that they're going to be able to handle it. It's just not inherent to how I run my business, but it doesn't mean that it's wrong if you are simply a lead generator. If that's what you're selling yourself as,
they're not doing the lead gen. They're providing something so the company can do their own lead gen kind of.
Okay. But mean that if you don't feel like being the business strategist with and for them, that's what I have. You ask, how do I handle it? What I do always like, okay, let's say we meet this goal, then what? And I just ask pointed questions like that to say, so let's say 30 days from now, we've hit this goal. You have X amount of customers. You have, this many leads coming in every day. Where do you go for the next 30 days? Where do you go for the next 90 days? And I try to keep it quarterly based because it's hard sometimes to, without there being like a holiday or a specific, sales cycle that of, 90-day goals are pretty much better. But I try to always keep my clients looking forward to, what are you going to do after this? What happens when the leads come in? And it's just about asking the questions. I don't have to be the expert. They know. Most people, just break that down to just being a human. You usually know the answer. It's in you, inside of you somewhere. You just need a coach, you need a mentor, you need a therapist, you need someone who can help draw those answers out of you. But you always feel that final sense of yes, no. And so do your clients. So it's just about being able to ask the right questions to say, when we get you this success, then what? Then where are we going? Then what are we chasing? Then what are we doing? And that's just how I've always handled it, is asking those questions to keep them pointed forward.
So one thing to do is, as you're doing this, guys, taking those questions and framing them in content that you're putting out on your page in groups. Hey guys, as you prepare for spring, new year, whatever, what are key elements? What are key indicators for you to know you need more growth? When do you start, bringing on more employees? Or you say, hey, top 3 things to be aware of as your business grows and right? Like, provide that little bit. Find an article on Forbes, on Inc., on somewhere about that next step for them, so that they can understand where they need to pay attention as you help them generate leads. Because you talk about, so this kind of goes to what Chantel's talking about with understanding. There is the fear monster there, and from a marketing standpoint, we do need to tap into sometimes those fears. But then we offer the solution that'll help them, right? And so understanding, hey, you're going to get some more leads. You're struggling right now because of this. This can help solve that problem. Here's 3 things you can do to prepare for the next step, right? So we're constantly providing both like that solution, that support, your digital products here. For some of you guys that are thinking about other products, if you want to become kind of consultants in an area or do lead gen or anything else, well, then you have an opportunity to offer other products or refer out, create other JV partnerships, find people that can do accounting. If they're going to struggle with accounting, I'm going to help them with their accounting. I'm going to find someone that can do it, like that kind of thing. So absolutely. What about reward of work results? Yeah. So Madeline, the businesses, you can talk about the reward, but they have to be aware of it. It's kind of, you don't need to make them aware of their problem because they understand the problem. You have to help them understand that you understand about their problem, if that makes sense. So, okay. We just need to do more together, Terra. It's always fun talking. Okay. So we talked about content and strategies and things moving into 2022, right? What do you do personally as a mom, as an entrepreneur, as a marketing consultant, all of these things? What do you do personally, like to wrap up the year, to get into the new year, whether strategy, like let's look at personal development side, or personally for you, how do you reset yourself and launch into the next year with momentum?
That's a great question, because a large part of what I do is just personality wise, is I'm constantly trying to assess, where am I at personally? And is there a reason why I might not be where I want to be professionally? Or if I have gotten to some of those professional goals, is it because of a change or a shift in personal, development type of things? So I feel like I'm constantly in this flow of, I journal almost every morning. As soon as it's the first thing that I do when I get to the office, is even if it's only like a couple of sentences, I'm ready to tackle this day. And I'm a big, big believer in, affirmations in the future, right? I am so glad that money has decided to continue to flow to me. I am grateful for all of these things. Sometimes I just write those affirmations. But one of the big things, especially at this time of year, it's just a natural flow. If you've been, especially in America at all, I think there's this definite like slow down of business and then ramp back up with New Year's and resolutions and goal settings and commitments and things like that. So I really like to take time to reflect on the last year, but I try to put a little spin on it. Most years aren't all, January, this was great. February, this was great. March, it got even better. April was amazing. That's great.
What? You mean if I plan goals, it's not just this upward projection all of the time? Damn it.
I know, right?
Okay, go ahead.
That lesson. Maybe when you hit puberty, you'll understand it.
Yeah, at some point.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Rarely is your whole year this one big shiny object. But if you don't take the time to kind of go through and edit, what worked and what didn't, even in the bad, right? Like my mom passed away unexpectedly 8 weeks ago. And for me, that's going to be a highlight, a big marker on the year 2021. And it'll be very easy for me to go through and say, 2021 sucked, right? It stole my mom from me. But I have to be able to shift into, okay, but what was the gift that came out of that? What was the gift that came out of this year? And one of the things is that it has reconnected my siblings and I. We will always have been close. But thank you, Heath. I just saw your comment. It has reconnected my siblings and my dad and I in a way that I don't think would have happened, without that. So it's about really going back through and editing your year. What, even in the crappy months, there's got to be a piece of glitter somewhere in there. What can you do with it? And is that a thing that you can just take out of it and say, okay, I don't want to go through that again. This month sucked, or this activity sucked. And
do you do that like at the end of each year? Do you sit down, like set aside 2 or 3 hours and kind of review the year, or what do you do? Like, is it a formal exercise, or are you just kind of contemplating over some extra Dunkin'? Like, what do you
usually. And I will admit there's probably some champagne in a glass somewhere near the coffee when I'm doing this. But because I have chosen through many life circumstances to always, and not to be overly Pollyanna about it, because I realize that some of my crappy choices are still choices that other people would love to have as their crappiest choice, right? But I've had to, but I try to spend a few hours, and I'm a divorced single mom. And so my kids go to their dad's house, and I have that built in. Not everyone has that. I have a couple of quiet times around the holidays that I'm able to do this. But if you don't, it can happen just on your drive, or, you can almost always find 10 minutes, right? Even if your kids are young. And because again, I've raised 4 kids. I know this. You can find 10 minutes to lock the door, take a bath, do, something, and just spend whatever time you have reflecting on that. Pull out of whatever your year has been, reflect on it, and find those things that you do want to go forward with. There's got to be some lessons you learned that you can bring forward with you. And that right there is great content, right? When you can open yourself up vulnerably to say, this was what didn't work in my year, and here's how I'm going to change it next year. That's a great piece of content. That is humanity. You find the connections with other people who are like, wow, they said that out loud. I can really get behind someone who can say that.
And there's a way to do that, guys. I think it's important to be able to do that in a way that's not screaming out for attention. Because a lot of people get frustrated with that online. Like you can do that in a way where it's not, oh my gosh, woe is me.
Right.
You know?
No, that's a distinction to make, that it's not about, and here's the thing that I want to say. You might not nail it, right? It might come off
and it's okay.
It is okay because you're trying. And that's what I said this a little bit ago. Keep practicing. Get it to the point where you can share a story that doesn't just attract a bunch of people, you know, who are like, oh, you know, this is supposed to be the praying emoji, but it's like actually a high five.
High five, yeah.
Getting a bunch of praying hand high five emojis, you want people to engage with it. And when you start getting more engagement, people are saying, you've described my feelings, that's when you know you've nailed it, right? So it is about sharing vulnerably, but understanding that there is this, and I'm so glad you brought that up, Andrew, because that is something that a lot of people overshare, right? We all have those Facebook friends who were like, again, it's the worst month of their life.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like it's the person that is in, you know, the fifth relationship that is the love of their life. It's the person that's had the worst week from hell ever for the 12th time this year. It's the person that, oh my God, you would never believe what happened to me, or oh my gosh, this and that. And obviously we never want to be that person. But if you're consistently engaging with the audience in one way or another, and once in a while there's a little bit of like, I screwed up, or I had this happen and this happened and this is how I felt. And it's almost best, guys, to kind of like what she's talking about. So instead of describing it in the moment when you're at the bottom, describe it as you started to build back up.
Yeah.
And you're coming out. And so you're not saying, hey, give me warm hugs and everything. And I say this because like, we have someone, she's on right now and she's a rock star, and I call her out from time to time and she knows we love her. So I posted something kind of similar to this the other day. She was talking about, you know, having that frustration, but she was also talking about how she was already building out, and just a positive word was pushing her in the right direction, and how she was fighting it and everything else. That's cool, guys. Being there and just being like, man, my day sucks. You'd never guess what happened. That's, you know, or
Chantel just posted something and she said that's being a victim, right? Be victim in what you're posting. Post the victory that happens after the victimhood. And that's where you really can people will start to identify with you in that. And like I started to say, it's not about being Pollyanna-ish, right? Like I've been called like way too Pollyanna-ish because I try to find that good no matter what the situation is. I mean, my youngest child
Can you explain that reference for some of people who may not understand who Pollyanna is?
Oh gosh, I'm so old. Pollyanna was a Disney movie like from 1950, and she was just this little girl in town who went around trying to find the good things. Like someone would be like, "Oh, my horse died." She'd be like, "Well, now you don't have to feed the horse." You know, I mean, it was like, it's that kind of Pollyanna-ish is just this someone who's all, thank you, Forrest. You're an amazing person with.
He is quick. Whenever there's something, I'm always like, Forrest, what is that again? He's the one who pulls it up. Anyway, go ahead.
But anyways, yeah, Pollyanna is someone who went around and always tried to find the good, and then something really bad happened to her, and the whole town ended up having to come and you know, it's okay that you got paralyzed and can't move your legs anymore. It was really kind of a strange movie, but the point being that it's about finding the little pieces of good no matter what's happening, and focus on that, because what you focus on and grow. So if you are focused only on the ways that you were a victim of the last year, you'll continue to victimize yourself through. You
set yourself up for next year just sucking, right? Like if you sit down, guys, and because the last 20 months, we all know, you got to understand this when you sit down, you do your end of year review, and maybe we'll do some training on that. But if you sit down and all you focus on is COVID, pandemic, lockdowns, business sucks, this happens, politics, no matter where you're at in the world, all of these other things, overspending and inflation, and like, shit, your year next year is going to suck too. You know, if you're offended by all of this, it's going to suck, because you're essentially saying I can't control my emotions. I can't control my frustrations. Somebody else has power over me.
Yeah.
And next year is going to be the same thing.
For sure.
So
another good way of doing that is another thing that I try to do is compare the 2020 version of you to the 2021 version of, and go December to December, right? Go back through your Facebook posts or scroll all the way down to your December Instagram. Find some way to kind of figure out who you were and find a black and white if you can. That's why I say go through your socials, or if you have a journal or whatever it is, a blog, refer to where you were at in December 2020 versus December 2021. This is a great objective way of looking at, wow, I really have grown through. This happened last December and I would have, I did react, blah, blah, blah. And now this year I'm doing X, Y, and Z. Some of it's just, I got a new job. I live in a new house. I have a new girlfriend, whatever those things are. Realize that there's a good contrast to seeing that growth. And really allow yourself to celebrate the good things that have happened. And, and look at your growth as a person and professionally. Build yourself up, I guess, is really what I'm trying to say with that.
I talk about, one of the things I talk about a lot with these guys is like, we can look at our to-do list and we can look at all these things that didn't happen and goals that didn't happen, but we don't spend enough time looking at our accomplishments daily and longer. Yeah. So it is the positive self-talk. It is the affirmations. But damn, you guys have done so much and accomplished so much. And the fact that you're here, and I know especially a lot of you on a consistent basis now for an extended period of time, many of you have put more into your personal growth and development in the course of this year than you have in your lifetime. I know that for a fact, right? Being on these calls, reading, getting additional training, pushing yourselves in ways that you never have. And the fact that a lot of you guys, even with frustrations, and like we've talked about, Terra mentioned her mom. We've had Ernie mention his mom. James mentioned his wife in January. Like all of you guys, everybody's had some kind of obstacles over this year. Aggo had something recently. We've all dealt with the shit. And the fact that you're still moving forward, like that's amazing. That is fantastic. When you sit and you do your year review, guys, recognize that stuff. Right? Yeah. Recognize the fire instead, the phoenix instead of the ashes.
Recognize the fire instead of the ash. And another thing too that I just want to insert here is that for a lot of humans, a lot of people, we have heard messages our whole life about how we shouldn't do that, right? We shouldn't talk about ourselves too much. We shouldn't, be too egotistical. There's a vast difference between being an egomaniac and being someone who can absolutely recognize and own your accomplishments. If you work on nothing else over the next year, I would encourage you to work on knowing and owning your enoughness, because we don't give ourselves that pat on the back because we don't feel like we're worth it. We don't feel like we've done enough to earn it. And that's a really that can keep you really stuck. Work on knowing that you are enough. I have a course that I created that I am willing to give to anyone who wants it. If this is something that you might struggle with, send me a message through one of my socials or reach out to Andrew. But it is absolutely, it's called You Are Enough. And it's just 4 modules of me going through my own story of how I never felt like I was enough. And some of the ways that I learned to do that. This is absolutely, I did not mean this to be a self promo, but
this is okay. So here's what I'm going to ask though. Since you said you're willing to give it for free, here's what I'm going to ask for you guys. I've got Chris and Nina, I've got this amazing team here. And they are absolute rock stars and they work so much. So here's what I'm going to ask. Tara's willing to give you a course. If you paid attention enough here, like just that line, own your enoughness, listen to this woman, because she's not just a marketing genius. She's an old and wonderful soul with a light that is just phenomenal. So you got a chance to get her course. What I'm going to ask for is like a $5 PayPal or Venmo that I'm going to give to Chris and Nina as like a Christmas thank you. Okay. So it's not going to be for me. It's not going to be for Terra, since she's willing to give it. But what I'm going to ask is for a $5 donation. And if you want to do more, you can do more. And I promise every single dollar will be given to them. Right. And Chris is on this. So, hey, Chrissa, here we go. And, but that's what I'm going to ask for you guys. It's that season. Everybody's got $1 to $5 or something that we can do. Without Chris and Nina, and there's some others behind the scenes, without them, none of this would be happening, truly, right? Like I wouldn't be able to do it. all of you guys have been contacted probably many, many times. And a lot of people are like, who is this? Why are they like emails, texts, phone calls, getting on these calls at the middle of the night? Like I've got a call at 3:00 here. That's 3:00 in the morning for them. And they're doing the work. So that's what I'm going to ask. Is that fair for everybody? Is everybody cool with that? So Terra's course, I promise, like there's some stuff in there that can benefit you. And for a $5 or whatever donation, any donation that you want. So if it's $1, if it's 10 or whatever. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll get you guys, I'll set it up as like a PayPal. We'll figure it out. Okay. Everybody cool with that? Tara, is that cool? You good with that idea?
I love that. I'm absolutely happy to be part of that.
So we'll do that. And then I'll match what we end up giving. So we'll do that. Okay, guys? Cool. So awesome. Well, then, okay, I totally derailed things.
No, I can jump back into where I was. So
go ahead.
Just that you don't often feel like you're enough like you're worth enough to recognize yourself. Get out of that mindset. Right. If you do nothing else in the year ahead, find ways to combat that negative voice and say, I hear this voice saying, oh, you shouldn't brag about this. That's not really that great. You should have done more. Challenge that voice. It's coming from somewhere in your mind and probably just from old stories that you've been told, and just say, you know what? I hear you. I know you want to protect me, but I am enough. I am enough right now. And that's what this course really goes through is it does help you start to reset that and talk back to that voice and take it, because when you do this, I want you, the last thing that I wanted to leave you with was set a really big goal for yourself in 2022 and know that even if it feels too big, I want you to make your new mantra, why not me? Why wouldn't this happen for me? Why wouldn't I hit this, monetary goal or this, big marketing goal that I have, this dream for my business? Set it big and know that you are absolutely worth whatever that bigness is. Go after it. Don't let anything stop you from it. And just learn to say to yourself, why not me? Why wouldn't it happen to me? Because there's no reason why it wouldn't. And I hope for all of you, some of you have been on, I think, almost every call that I've done with Andrew, and I appreciate that. But yeah, you have every reason and every ability to succeed however big you want to. So keep reaching bigger and bigger. I think that's a little bit derailed from the initial marketing content that we were going to do, but I want you to.
No, I mean, the whole point of this, guys, is, and part of the reason I bring Terra on is because we do flow between different topics like this. We were doing it as we sat down we were going back and forth. She was helping me rewrite a VSL, and it's about finding some of the things that you're good at. It's about recognizing what you're good at. It's about pushing yourself. It's about believing in yourself. It's about becoming more and more and more, no matter what you have to deal with. And all of you are capable of that. And whether it's in another month or 2 months or 3 months, I'm going to bring her back on. And some of you guys, I'm still going to have, running right next to me, or I'll be dragging you beside me to get further. Right? Because you're all capable of so much more than you recognize. Right. And it's not what she said earlier. It's not the ego that's saying that. And you can say that with humility, to recognize that whether you want to say it's God or the universe or some divine right that you have within you, you're capable of more. And you have the seeds of greatness within you, and they just need to be nurtured.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're trying to do over and over. So what do you think in content? Did you have anything else? Because I jumped in there on you.
No, I was going to say, turn that into a piece of content. These are my big dreams. And it can be scary to put that down, right? I am going to be a millionaire in 2022. You don't have to necessarily flesh out the details of that. Maybe you have an investment that really peaks and that pushes you over the edge. Maybe it's actual cash received. Who knows? But and maybe it's not about the money. I don't want to. Money's not bad. Okay, I could go off for another few months about. Let's not have a conversation about making money bad or becoming a millionaire being bad. Money is great. Money's how we all operate. Money's how, look at what we're going to do with the money that we're all contributing. We're going to give it to Krista and Nina, and money's great. We're going to have the opportunity to help them. So money is not bad. Make your dreams though, put them online, make them big enough that you're almost a little bit like, oh, do I want to actually say this out loud? You do, because it pushes you in a way that keeping it just up here doesn't. And there's a meme that goes around that says, don't talk to anyone about your big goals. Just do it and let the change happen.
Do it in quiet. Yeah, they talk about that.
Everyone watch you. That's also great. Okay. I'm not taking away from the greatness of that for certain situations, but there's also this amazing thing that happens when you put it down in writing. And now you have people who are checking in on you and they're like, can I help you? Or, hey, I heard about this opportunity and you had said you wanted to do something like this, like the connections and networks and just fingers of all that happens because of the amazing World Wide Web can move you forward, and people will never know about that if you don't say it out loud. So be brave enough to say your things out loud. That's content. That is
trust that your voice has value. I think is one of the biggest things, guys. You've got more value than you understand. And yeah, that becomes great content because you've got to start believing in that. And that's when you get into the personal branding and everything. You have a voice that's worth being heard. And what Henry was saying yesterday, your audience will connect with you. Not everybody will. And that's okay. Right? I know, look, we've had times when there's a core group that's been on here for a long time. And there's some people that come and go, and some people will watch on the replays because I get those messages. And some people will come back in once every few weeks when they can. But I know there's people that show up to these, are like, damn, I don't want to listen to that dude. And you know what? That's okay. It's totally cool because I don't need everybody to listen. I'm not doing it for everybody.
Right.
I'm doing it because I feel like occasionally there's a message that's worth sharing. And so I share it. And some people get something out of it. And ultimately that's what it's about. And so guys, you've got the same thing. You have people that will listen, but only if you open your mouth.
And I wanted to say too, if you do get brave enough to really put your things out there and it's a public post, tag me. Like I said, if we've already connected, if you sent me a connect request, I'll connect. I will jump in and give you the biggest encouragement ever. That is, Andrew was asking, what are my superpowers? I'm also probably one of the best cheerleaders you'll ever have on your side because I'm a good hype girl. But yeah, tag me. Let's make some magic happen. Because you're brave enough to put yourself out there to realize you're enough to claim and own whatever this is that you're wanting to do.
So, Krista, you're welcome. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you. Okay, so for that course, as we kind of wrap up, what are you going to need from me? Just email?
It is hosted on my course platform. So unfortunately, to go and sign up and create an account there. But I don't send out a bunch of emails. You're not going to get just inundated because now you're on my course. But you just go there. You can take the course through that platform. I will give you the link, Andrew, to go have people. And yeah,
they just register there and then they'll get access kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's all immediate access right there.
All right. So guys, if you're not yet a part of the Skype group, then that's where I'm going to post information. I'm going to do PayPal and Venmo. It's just the easiest ways. I'll do it that way. And as soon as you do it, I'll get you connected so you can get access to that course. If you, and whatever you guys want to donate, $1 to whatever. And every dollar, I promise I will track. I will show you. I will make sure that, you guys see the total. It's all going to go to Krista. If not, you guys know where I am every single day, so you can hound me for it. But I promise it's all going to them. And so Kim, can someone Krista, can you drop the link to the Skype group in there? Thank you. You guys can click on that. And so if you don't have Venmo, I'm going to do PayPal. If you don't have that, we can either figure something out. We'll figure something. There's a way to do it, guys. If you're outside the US, those might be a little bit more difficult, but PayPal or Venmo typically are the easiest, or Cash App or something. But we'll track it and we'll get it. And you guys can, I don't know if I have, again, I'll do everything I can to we'll figure it out, guys. We'll figure it out. So Terra, my dear, I appreciate you coming on quite a bit.
Of you for the wonderful comments. I will go back through and read them. Thank you for the condolences, the well wishes and everything. I feel the energy here. That's why I keep coming back and I love it. And yeah, I'd love to connect with any of you who want to connect more. That would be great.
So awesome. Guys, make today awesome. I'll be posting. Yes, I have Zelle, Catalina. We will figure it out. And I'll put it in there. I just want to see if there's a way I can set up PayPal and Venmo so it'll all go into like a common thing. So I can do that. So then again, I'm not accepting anybody else's payment through those channels right now anyway. So anything that goes into PayPal or Venmo will stick right there. So appreciate you guys. Yes, go out, make it a great day, everybody. We will be back tomorrow and we'll get things going. Tara, love you. Appreciate you being on. You know,
Thank you, Terra. That was awesome.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you.
What you need to do is be that person that's different and is bigger than you think. Rise from the ashes and fly like